You wake up, your eyes are still heavy, your mind fogged. Before you even take a breath, your hand reaches for your phone. It's automatic. You scroll, you swipe, you check, you see what's new, who posted, who replied, what changed. And just like that, the day hasn't even begun, and your mind is already gone, pulled into 1,000 places that aren't here. You tell yourself it's normal. Everyone does it. Everyone scrolls. Everyone stays connected. But deep down, you know something feels off. You feel scattered, unfocused, empty, but not in a way you can explain. It's not pain exactly. It's more like a constant hum, a restlessness, a subtle ache in your attention. You can't sit still. You can't be quiet. You can't stop reaching for something, anything, to fill the silence. And the terrifying thing? You don't remember the last time you truly felt present. We live in a world addicted to stimulation, where silence feels threatening, where stillness feels like failure. But here's a truth we rarely face. You can't hear your own soul whisper when your life is a constant shout. Every sound, every scroll, every buzz is an interruption, not from the outside world, but from yourself. Because the noise doesn't just fill your mind, it replaces it. The philosopher Seneca warned about this over 2,000 years ago. He wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." And that's what we've become, everywhere, yet nowhere. Our minds live scattered across tabs, apps, notifications, to-do lists, and trending topics. We are aware of everything except ourselves. We've mistaken information for wisdom, motion for meaning, connectivity for connection. We're living in what can only be called the age of the divided self. The part of you that knows you're losing focus fights against the part of you that needs to be distracted. It's a tug of war that never ends. But let's ask the hard question. What are you really running from? Because distraction isn't random. It's not just bad habits or lack of discipline. Distraction is a symptom of something deeper. You distract yourself because you're avoiding yourself. You avoid the silence because silence reveals what you've been hiding. Your doubts, your loneliness, your regrets, the faint echo of meaning that you've forgotten how to follow. We distract ourselves not because the world is too interesting, but because our inner world has become too unbearable to face. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who cannot command himself will obey." And that's what distraction has done to us. It's turned us into obedient slaves of noise. You don't choose what to think about anymore. The algorithm does. You don't choose what to feel. Your feed does. You don't choose what you value. Culture does. You've been trained to crave interruption, to chase validation, to fear stillness. It's not your fault. The system is designed that way. But here's the trap. The more distracted you become, the easier you are to control. Because a mind that cannot focus cannot resist. Dietrich Bonhoeffer saw this coming long before social media existed. He warned of a kind of moral stupidity, not ignorance, but unconsciousness. A state where people stop thinking for themselves, not because they lack intelligence, but because they've become numb. They accept whatever noise surrounds them as truth. That's what distraction does. It replaces discernment with reaction. It kills reflection, it kills depth, and without depth, there is no wisdom. You stop asking why, you stop noticing how, you just react, scroll, consume, repeat. Plato told us this in his allegory of the cave, people chained in darkness mistaking shadows for reality. When one prisoner escapes and sees the light, he realizes the truth, but when he returns to tell the others, they laugh, they mock him. They prefer the shadows, because the light burns before it reveals. And that's what silence feels like today. It burns. It's uncomfortable. It shows us what we've ignored. But without it, we never see what's real. You want to know why so many people feel lost, anxious, or numb, even when life seems good? It's not because they lack success. It's because they lack stillness. Without stillness, there's no reflection. Without reflection, there's no direction. And without direction, even success feels hollow. You can have everything and still feel like nothing. That's not failure, that's misalignment. The Stoics understood this long ago. They believed peace isn't the absence of problems, it's the mastery of attention. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He ruled an empire, yet his greatest struggle was the same as yours, to stay centered in a world constantly pulling him outward. And here's the paradox. The things we run from, pain, boredom, silence, are not our enemies. They are the gateways to clarity. The Stoics believed that every obstacle hides a lesson. As Epictetus said, it's not things that disturb us, but our judgment of them. Meaning, life doesn't overwhelm you. Your resistance to it does. When you run from discomfort, you magnify it. When you face it, you dissolve it. But here's what no one tells you. Distraction doesn't steal your time. It steals your life. Every moment you spend scrolling through someone else's story is a moment stolen from your own. Every time you avoid the silence, you deny yourself the chance to hear what matters. Every time you look outward for meaning, you forget that meaning was always meant to be grown inward. You think you're living, but really you're drifting, moving fast but going nowhere. There's a concept in psychology called intermittent reinforcement. It's the idea that when rewards are unpredictable, like likes, comments, or notifications, they become addictive. Your brain gets hooked on the possibility of pleasure, not the pleasure itself. That's why you check your phone every few minutes. You're chasing uncertainty. You've been rewired to seek stimulation instead of satisfaction. The philosopher Machiavelli once said, "Men are driven by two impulses, love and fear. And modern life has weaponized both. You fear being forgotten, so you stay online. You crave love, so you perform. But love built on performance is not connection. It's dependence." Let's pause. Really pause. When was the last time you sat in silence? No music, no phone, no distractions. And just listen to the world. The hum of the air, the sound of your breath, the pulse of your own life. You used to be able to do that as a child. Remember, you could just be. You could get lost in thought, in wonder, in stillness. Now, you get lost in noise. That's the tragedy of our time. We traded wonder for distraction, curiosity for consumption, presence for performance. But here's the good news. You can take it back. Stillness isn't something you have to learn. It's something you have to remember. Start small. Sit quietly for 5 minutes a day. No phone, no sound, just you. At first, it'll feel unbearable. You'll itch to move, your mind will scream. That's not boredom, that's withdrawal. You've been overdosing on stimulation for years. But once the noise starts to fade, something beautiful begins to emerge. You'll start noticing the world again, the colors, the silence, the small miracles you've been too busy to see. You'll remember what it feels like to be alive, not just existing. Nietzsche said, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." You don't need to erase your chaos. You just need to stop drowning it in noise. Because in that silence, that terrifying, quiet space, something sacred begins to stir. Your own thoughts, your own truth, your own voice. And that's the thing distraction fears most. Your awakening. You were not born to be a consumer of noise. You were born to create meaning, to think deeply, to love fully, to live consciously. The world doesn't need more opinions. It needs more awareness. And awareness only grows in silence. So step out of the noise just for a moment and listen. That feeling you've been calling emptiness? It's not emptiness. It's space. Space for something real to grow. You don't need another app, another routine, another goal. You need presence. You need attention. You need yourself. Because once you return to your own attention, truly return, you'll realize the thing you've been searching for was never out there. It was always right here. So, the next time you feel the urge to scroll, to escape, to numb, stop. Breathe. Ask yourself, what am I trying not to feel right now? That's where the truth begins. That's where the healing begins. That's where you begin again. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. You just have to listen. Subscribe to Echo Praxis for the ideas that quiet the noise and awaken the parts of you that the world forgot to remind you still exist.